Hello, my bunch of firecrackers. It's November, it's been fireworks season, and finally in the UK we have dipped into feeling quite chilly. So, funnily enough, I mean it's just typical timing because I've got a new a new perfume here that I bought specifically because I was craving something else that was just too strong to wear in the kind of milder weather. But anyway, this week this is a real mixture going on here because I have both got a couple of new things, sort of new, and I've also been shopping my stash and testing things out that have been kind of pushed to the side. I wanted to come back to, I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep. Some have been in kind of, I think I'm going to declutter them. No, I'm not going to declutter them. You know, this kind of thing. So, but I'm going to just get this one out of the way first because I pretty much wear a Mon Guerlain every week. I wore the Eau de Parfum Florale this week. So the thing with Florale is it's a lot of people's favourite version of Mon Guerlain, but for me, I think I think this is one that kind of lacks a little bit of the magic of the original in a way that just makes me want to wear the original. So I do think this is lovely. I'm happy to have it. But I did find myself wearing this and just wishing I'd put the original one on. So this is kind of in my head at the moment as being like, I'll leave it in my display. I'll come and try it another time. But I feel like with all of the other flankers I have, they're noticeably different in a way that I quite enjoy. Whereas I feel like this one's kind of different because it's more vanillic and it's less licoricey. And I mean, I wonder if in a way it actually reminds me a little bit more of the Guess Seductive Noir, which is kind of less spicy and more vanillic. I feel like this one is in the same realm as that. It's kind of, it's lacking the things that I think I'm actually obsessed with in Mon Guerlain, the original, but it doesn't have like a really interesting fruity note or a kind of, or like the EDT has that kind of interesting caramel note. Or the Bloom of Rose EDT, you know, that smells like quite a different perfume, but with just a hint. You know, this one actually smells very similar to the original, but without the more interesting elements, I'd say. So, I did think I smelt lovely. I enjoyed wearing it, but I also, I mean, it's like the difference between Lolita Lempicka Eau de Parfum and the, what's it called? Mon Premier. So I really love Mon Premier, but it isn't as complex as the original. And therefore, when I wear that one, I normally end up just craving wearing the original. So if I continue to crave the original when I wear this, I'll probably pass this one on and probably then just buy a massive bottle of the OG and just wear that one all the time. But yeah, I mean, it is beautiful. And I think if it's still surprisingly easy to get a hold of this on eBay and it's not massively expensive. Like if I sell this, I'm not going to make loads of money, even though it's discontinued. So I would say if you have smelt Mon Guerlain and what you don't like about it is like the licorice and patchouli in the base and you wish it was a little bit more vanillic rather than just that tonka vanilla mixture, then Floral is going to be your girl because it still has all the other elements going on. And it is more floral, but I don't think it, you know, I get anything like specific from this. So the actual notes: lavender, bergamot, mandarin orange and lemon in the top. Then the mid notes are floral notes, peony, jasmine, sambac, ylang ylang, neroli, peach, lily of the valley, loads of stuff. Base notes, vanilla, iris and sandalwood. I'm just going to look at the votes. So lavender and vanilla are right at the top. And that's exactly what it is. So I do think it's beautiful. But if you just, you know, if you just had that licorice in here as well, I mean, at that point, you're just going to be wearing the OG, right? But, yeah, I think that I think I just prefer that dark licorice and maybe slightly more earthy vibe that you get because of the patchouli as well. And I don't normally like patchouli, but for some reason, the original Mon Guerlain is just like I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, that one, I liked it. I didn't love it because I love the original so much. So I push this over here. I've got some larger bottles today. I wasn't feeling too well earlier on in this week. But this is what I reach for when I'm feeling a bit rough. I don't know what to wear. It's one of my absolute OG classics, and It's just so easy and fresh and clean, and it just makes me smell. I mean, it almost makes me smell like I've washed my hair and washed my body with like the most delicious non-shampooey soapiness. It's not that it's a soapy perfume, but it does have a fresh out of the shower vibe, the same way that you get with like green tea. So Boum green tea cherry blossom. Hallelujah, you can actually buy this in, well, not in the UK, but from sites that sell to the UK. I think it's still on Notino. They might have it on makeup.uk. I'm obsessed. It was my signature scent for a little while when it, I don't think it's when it first came out, but when I first found it anyway. So Boum green tea cherry blossom from Jeanne Arthes. Top notes of tea, lemon and pear. Mid notes cherry blossom, blackcurrant and rose. Base notes peach and musk. You can smell all of those. And it's just kind of watery and slightly sheer, but it's fresh. It's delicious. If you get this on your clothes, it lasts quite well. It just is so fresh and delicious. I love how I smell when I'm wearing this. I love how I feel when I'm wearing it. It's a perfect perfume if you're a fuss pot like me, and it's a perfect perfume if you don't really know what to wear, but you know you want to smell nice, and you don't want anything overwhelming. So that's a good one. Oh yes, so this has been in my declutter box, out my declutter box, in it, and I was just really like, I'm just going to try it on a day when I'm not feeling too great. And I just really enjoyed wearing it. I think it's because it's so sweet. This is Cotton Musk from Ulric de Varens. It's such a big bottle. Yeah, maybe I'm going to put this one down here, actually, because that looks a bit weird, doesn't it? So, Cotton Musk, as you can see, it's in this proper 80s style mad bottle, which I love, may I add. So, Cotton Musk by Ulric de Varens. This is... I suspect there's a lot of... Is it ISO-E Super? I think it's ISO-E Super. Yeah, the thing that's in Molecule 01, because I think that this smells like a less invisible, more perfumey, even sweeter version of Molecule 01. So it doesn't list having ISO-E Super in it, but it does have that feel to me. And as soon as I smell the eccentric molecules and I smell Molecule 01, I just instantly thought, oh, that just smells like Cotton Musk by Ulric de Varens. So this is, and I think I've just seen this on Ulric de Varens' website, and they don't do these big bottles anymore. They've changed them, and they just come in the little triangular ones. And I have a feeling that that's kind of their archived sense when they stop selling them in the big bottles, because maybe they're not like bestsellers or whatever. So they just start making them in the little ones, in the triangle ones, which is a shame. But you can still get this at the moment. I think they've got it on eBay and Amazon are the two places I've seen it. But this is bitter orange and white musk in the top. Mid notes of white musk, jasmine, honeysuckle, freesia. Base notes tonka bean, sandalwood, vanilla and white musk. I think that this is called Cotton Musk because it smells like a kind of almost clean laundry, but without being too soapy. It's kind of clean laundry in the way that white musks often are clean laundry, but it's intensely sweet, as if there is cotton candy in here. I don't know that these notes make a huge amount of sense other than the fact there's definitely vanilla and tonka bean, there's definitely musk. I think there's a powdery sandalwood, and I wonder if also adding to the sweetness is the honeysuckle here. I'd say maybe. There's maybe something bitter orangey in it, but I wouldn't have ever picked it out as being bitter orange. I just think it just has a your skin but better clean kind of musky, sweet, very sweet scent. And that's what kind of I wasn't ever sure about, is just how sweet this one is. But I really enjoyed wearing it, and so it's back in my collection. What am I going to put up here instead? Are you going to fit? Okay. So this one, I bought a partial bottle because I smelt this in store. I'm very silly. I should have sprayed it on my skin, but because I was wearing radiant perfume, I didn't. And I'm smelling this whole range. So this is an Estée Lauder perfume called Dream Dusk. As you can see, I got this partial bottle. I got this on eBay. These weigh an absolute ton, these bottles. But I smelt this one in store, Dream Dusk. I really liked it on paper. I thought it was really nice. And I wanted to get a sample or one of their little miniatures because they do 4ml mini bottles. And I think they're sprayers. They are sprayers, in fact. So I've got one of a different one. We'll talk about it another time. And And I was like, they're like £15 or something. So I saw this partial bottle and it was a bargain. So I just got this instead. Because I was like, if I've got to pay for postage as well, I might as well just get a slightly bigger bottle to try. Forgetting that these weigh an absolute ton. They're like weapons. So Dream Dusk, it was just kind of a sort of a musky skin scent. Slightly floral, a bit tangy. And I bought this and I tried it on my skin and it's really doesn't work for me. There is something, and again, I feel like I get this in a lot of Estée Lauder because I have a feeling this is one of the issues I have with Bronze Goddess. Screechy. I find it very screechy. I find it needle in the eye. Like, it is extremely high pitched, if that makes sense. So this has cherry blossom in the top, blackcurrant blossom in the mid, and then geranium in the base. But I swear there's something musky in here as well. Yeah, so I really don't like this on my skin. I find it very, very sharp and screechy and uncomfortable, which I would say is probably a buttload of ambroxan. It normally is if something that smells nice to me on paper on my skin just goes insane. So that's probably what it is. It's no good for me, unfortunately, so I'll get rid of this. If you wanted to try it and you're in the UK, I'll probably at some point be putting that on my eBay. So I'm going to move this over here so I can talk about this next one. Talking of shopping my stash, I wanted to try this again when it was a bit colder. I'm so torn and slightly confused about this one, but I've made the decision that I just can't wear it. So if you've been with me for a long time, you'll know that I got this quite early on when I was making videos for YouTube. So this is Levine for her. The colour hasn't changed very much, but I feel like this was already a beast when I got it, and now it's actually so strong that I find it. Even I put a tiny bit on, I was so overwhelmed by it. It is beast mode to next level. It's kind of like, it reminds me of what perfumes were like when I was a kid, in that everyone just smelt so strong if they wore perfume. And one of the things I love about this perfume is that it's got marigold in it, and I really like marigold. But I sat down and I had a think, because this was actually driving me insane. It was so strong. I just was so overwhelmed by it. But I was like, I have a brocade perfume with marigold in, which it doesn't smell exactly the same as this, but it has like a dry wood and it has spices and it's got a strong marigold. That one is a bit more fruity than this, because it has lots of orange in it. It always reminds me of the Mexican Day of the Dead celebrations with all the marigolds. That's what that one makes me think of. I think it's called Brocade Colour Feeling Orange. And then I also have the Marigold and Gardenia from Vera Wang, the Embrace collection. And I've got a couple of bottles of that. That one is the one that has melon in it. And my husband thinks it smells like cucumber. So I don't wear it as often as I used to, because he actively doesn't like that perfume. But I still really like that perfume. I like it in slightly warmer weather. So I just decided that because I find this one just too overwhelming, too strong, it's very dry, it's a little bit vintage smelling. There's just no point in me having this one. I have a couple of other marigold perfumes, and I hope at some point I'll find more, because I really like the note of marigold. I think it's beautiful. But also, and the fact that I love Stash by SJP, and I find that one easy to wear, has kind of ruined my desire to wear other woody perfumes anyway. I don't really feel the need to have another kind of sandalwood perfume, because I've got my soft sandalwood in Indie, even though that's not supposed to be sandalwood, but it totally smells like it. And I have spicy perfumes, I have woody perfumes now. This one, I think, is exceptionally good value, but only safe for people who like very strong perfumes. If you like things like Samsara from Mon Guerlain, then I think you will really appreciate this perfume. But I am not woman enough for this perfume. It's too much for me. It reminds me of when I've tried to wear things like Opium, and because I loved the smell of Samsara as well, but I can never wear that perfume. And I want to be able to wear this, but I can't. It's too much for me, so I'm going to have to pass it on. The notes in this are top notes of spices, marigold, saffron and citruses, mid notes of Australian sandalwood, Indian jasmine and rose petals, base notes of vanilla and benzoin. And I love sniffing this. I just can't wear it. I wonder if my skin just makes this unbelievably strong. I don't know. I would love for someone to walk past me and be wearing this. I'd love this smell, but on me, it's too much. So I think I will end up putting that into some kind of bundle, maybe with some of my other kind of woodier or spicier perfumes that I don't need. But it is, I mean, it is beautiful. I'd never tell you that it's not worth buying, because it totally is. It's just, it doesn't suit me. It just doesn't suit me, which is a real shame. Tempted to keep a little sample of it just so I can sniff it now and again, you know. I'd like a soap that smells like it or something. Okay, so like I said, I wasn't feeling very well. So one of the days, not when I was wearing these so much, but when I wore this one of the other days, I was feeling a bit rough. I wore Chill Out by Oriflame. Put it over here because it's very similar. It's like a very watery, more fresh, less creamy version of Mon Guerlain. It's lavender in the top, vanilla in the mid, cedar in the base. It's even more unisex smelling than Mon Guerlain, which I know is supposed to be a feminine perfume, but I feel like a lot of people take kind of masculine elements away from that perfume. Personally, I think it's super feminine and beautiful, but this interpretation where it's kind of sheerer, it's maybe a little bit heavier on the lavender, it's like lighter on the kind of tonka vanilla-y side, maybe a little bit heavier with the woodiness. So overall, same kind of profile, but it is a little bit more unisex. And this is the one I normally wear to bed, but I wore it for the whole day because I just felt rough, and I just resprayed it whenever I fancied. I think you can only get that on eBay and stuff nowadays. I don't really see it. I don't think Oriflame make it anymore, which is a shame. Okay, so next up we have one that I have had before, and then I decluttered, and now I've just brought back to my collection. And as I said in the beginning, the reason I've brought this one back in is because I've been craving wearing its big sister, and it just hasn't been cold enough. Although typically on the day I chose to wear this, it was the first day it started to get cold, and this did not hold up very well. So Burberry Brit for her, the Eau de Toilette version though. So I have the EDP. I love the EDP, but I find it so like strong on me if I try to wear it in warmer weather. And I think that some people find Brit quite overwhelming, and I get it, but I love it in cold weather. So I just thought I'm going to bring the EDT back to see how I get on with that in milder weather. And it's beautiful, and I'm going to keep it because I am going to wear this one in milder weather, because it definitely has similarities. It's got, you can tell you're wearing Brit, if you see what I mean, but I think it's a bit easier. And again, it's a little bit more unisex. It's sheerer. So here it is. This is the current formulation as well. I'm sure people talk about how the old formulations were better and they last forever or whatever. I mean, I find the Brit that I've got, the EDP, to be quite strong as it is. So this one though, not very strong at all. To be fair, I have only just got this and opened it. This wasn't a used bottle, but I have already put a slight dent in it. Reason being, I sprayed a lot on and then I resprayed it because it didn't last very long. But like I said, this is brand new. It was all packaged up. It was all cellophane. So it might need to sit for a little bit. And it's going to have time now because it's now cold enough for me to wear actual Brit EDP. So the notes in the EDT are green almond, lime, pear and lemongrass in the top. Mid notes of almond, sugar and peony. Base notes vanilla, mahogany and amber. So I think the difference here is the lemongrass, and I think everything else might be the same, except I'm just going to look up the original. Is there tonka in the original as well? So I would say the real difference that I'm getting here is the lemongrass sort of gives this a different tone. It makes it a little bit, honestly, more medicinal. So if you don't like lemongrass in perfumes, then this is not going to be for you, because I can definitely sense there's lemongrass. So you get this bright, zingy lime. There's more lime in this one, I would say. Not like a huge amount, but there's definitely a bit more lime. Then you get that kind of aromatic and slightly strange medicinal. I mean, bitter, I'm not sure is the word, but there is a slightly unusual scent from that lemongrass. and then it's not as creamy, it's not as thick. I think it's far less vanillic, even though it does definitely dry down to still smell like vanilla. But it's very sugary, this one. It's equally as sweet, but it's not creamy in the same way. Yeah, and I think there's more lime than pear in this one, but you still get the pear, you still get some almond, you still get some of the vanilla. It's absolutely lovely. It was such a joy to wear. But I did feel I had to keep reapplying. But to be honest, like I said, I feel like I just stepped into a day that had turned weather-wise. And I think this is going to be so much better. Oh yeah, here we go. So the original doesn't have the lemongrass, and it has an added note of tonka bean. So it's thicker, it's creamier, it's stronger, but it's still quite similar. It's not quite as aromatic. The mahogany wood, I think, is... it's not quite as noticeable as I remember it being in this one, but I feel like, again, like this just might need to sit for a little while. And I think that maybe I was kind of smelling the lemongrass and getting something slightly woody and barky from that. I don't know. But I really like this. I'm really happy to have it back, and I'm definitely going to be wearing it whenever I get the craving for wearing the EDP, but I just can't because it's too warm. Absolutely lovely. Love it. It's excellent. Okay, so then I wore Creamy Candy from Lush. I'm just looking at the back of this because Creamy Candy, this is one of the ones that came out with the Lush Times community. I believe they're about to release some more at the end of November, and I am going to be absolutely poor when it comes to Christmas because I didn't expect it, and I only saw something about it on Instagram. And now I'm like, oh no, there's so many things I'm going to want, and it's going to cost me a small fortune. And if I like the Wicked body sprays, I'm in trouble as well because they are £40 each. I mean, they're massive bottles, but they're going to have to be pretty good to be 40 quid each for a body spray. Okay, so Creamy Candy, it only says vanilla in the notes, which it's so dark in the rest of my room where I haven't got this light. Let's have a look. I'm looking at it in frame, probably. Vanilla Absolute, anise alcohol, perfume. Yeah, so it's kind of mystery what else is in here. But I really think it smells like a much creamier and more vanillic version of Snow Fairy. So I really get, when I first spray this, a feel that I'm using Snow Fairy, but then it gets creamier and yummier, and I just prefer it to actual Snow Fairy. I still like Snow Fairy, I still have the body spray, but I think this one is just a bit yummier because it's a bit creamier. And yeah, so I mean, actually, I got myself, because they have a little shampoo, depends on what size you buy for yourself. But they have a shampoo of Snow Fairy at the moment, which I think is probably the Barbie shampoo that they brought out. It's bright pink, so I thought I'd be careful and try it on my hair. Even though I've got white hair and it's very bright pink, so you don't want to leave it on, obviously, if you've got blonde or white hair, otherwise it will actually go pink, it will tone it. But it smelled really nice in the shower, but I didn't really last very much on my hair, and it didn't, I don't know, it didn't work very well with my hair, that one. But because I'd used it, I wanted to smell a bit Snow Fairy-ish, but I wasn't really necessarily in the mood for actual Snow Fairy. I think this one isn't quite as fruity, or at least it doesn't last in such a fruity way. It still has that kind of pink shrimp foam sweets. It still smells a bit like those, but almost with the base of American cream. So yeah, maybe that's what this is actually. It's like the bridge between Snow Fairy and American cream. And I like Snow Fairy and I love American cream. So this one just kind of works for me for being a nice little kind of halfway house. It's very delicious. Try not to blind you, but I do want it to catch the gold a little bit because it's kind of cool. So yeah, I just love that, and it's a shame that they don't do that one, but I understand why not, because it is quite close to American cream and they bring Snow Fairy out every year. So okay, last thing to talk about, I've had this for ages. Where is this from? So I bought some perfume oils from Amore Scents, which are like a dupe house. I think they're a UK dupe house. I just wanted to try them out. You might have seen before, I've got their Love Don't Be Shy dupe in the oil, and I quite like that one. I also got Forbidden Cherry, which is Lost Cherry by Tom Ford. That's what this is supposed to smell like. And then I also got, the other one is, what's the one everyone always goes on about, smelling like an apple pie, and everyone wears it at Thanksgiving? Everyone's obsessed with it. A Killian one. I've forgotten what it's called. But anyway, I wasn't like I didn't particularly like any of them enough to like do a little video specifically about Amore Scents. But because I've been reorganizing and trying to sort out my stuff, I need to do some sales. I've got loads of reviews I need to do. I pulled this one out to try it, and it's the same that happened last time. It just made me feel sick. So Forbidden Cherry by Amore Scents. I think they've got... There's just something really missing from this. It doesn't smell... I think they do have a little bit of the actual black cherry smell rather than a cherry smell, which is always seems to be missing when I smell these kind of things. But it's too sweet and it's too syrupy, and it doesn't have any tartness, and it needs tartness because without it, it's so sickly. It needs that kind of sour cherry, and that seems to be what I don't get. So yeah, it just makes me feel sick. And I did have some of this in a rollerball, and I ended up chucking it away because I'm like, I'm not going to use it. So I will give this one to someone, or I'll chuck it in with a bundle or something, because I can't wear it. It's just too sickly sweet. And the same with the Killian one. That one is missing the booziness as well. So it has the sweetness of the booziness, but it doesn't have the rich or alcoholic notes from the booze, which I think again gives it more of a sharpness, like a zinginess, like a slight acidity that you are missing here. So the notes in the original Tom Ford are bitter almond, black cherry, cherry liqueur, mid notes of sour cherry, plum, Turkish rose and jasmine sambac. Base notes vanilla, tonka bean, cinnamon, Peru balsam, benzoin, sandalwood, cloves, cedar, patchouli and vetiver. Yeah, this oil makes me feel a bit nauseous, and I have to scrub it off. Even though I like smelling it from the thingy, from the bottle, it gets so intensely, overwhelmingly sweet. So I would say if you do ever try any of these from Amore Scents, it's not like they're bad perfumes or anything, but they don't necessarily smell very strong when you first put them on, but my God, they get so strong. So like if I wear the Love Don't Be Shy dupe I have, I genuinely have to just put a tiny bit on and then let it dry down, and not keep adding more, because I think it's not very strong, because it really grows and develops and it lasts for ages. So yeah, that's my little bunch of yummy perfumes from this week. As you can see, I had a much less successful week, but that is partly because I've been trying things out specifically. I've been testing stuff out. I've had some time at home. I did some working from home this week. So I literally, I was able to just put something on in the morning, test it out, wash it off, put something on and be like, I'm just going to try things out that I don't want to give a full day to, just in case I don't like it. But yeah, so this one has been saved from my declutter, and these have been added to my declutter. And this is I'm not sure if I'll declutter it or not. We'll wait and see. But yeah, I mean, I think at some point I'm probably going to get myself a massive bottle of the original and then just go absolutely ham on it, because I love the original Mon Guerlain. It's like one of my favourite things in the world at the moment. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please do consider subscribing, and I hope you like whatever I've got coming up. I've already forgotten what it is. I'm really excited. I'm going to be getting into my wintry stuff soon, and that's going to be absolutely awesome. So thank you again for watching. You guys are fabulous. Thank you to all my subscribers. If you've been here long enough to remember when I first got this, then nice one. Thanks guys for supporting me. All right, ta-ra.